Welcome to Tech News of the Week with your host, the slight disappointment you feel when a balloon deflates.
Welcome to Tech News of the Week. This is our weekly tech news podcast where we talk about 4 stories that caught our interest this week. For the first story, Chris, we're going to space.
The final frontier?
It's going to be a fantastic voyage for sure. Interstellar Voyager 1 is fully operational again. Thank goodness. NASA's Voyager 1 probe is coming off 47 years of continual operation. The probe is now 15 billion miles away from Earth and beyond the heliosphere. That's the protective bubble of magnetic fields and solar pressure that comes from the sun. It has made its way into true interstellar space. Voyager 1 and its bro, Voyager 2, are the only devices capable of directly measuring this medium. I like to think they're friends. They're bros. They're broing down out in interstellar space, all right? You shut your filthy mouth. And for a while, it seemed like Voyager 1 might be down for the count. In November of 2023, technical issues arose that caused the probe to stop sending regular updates on its 4 operational instruments. After some crafty and laborious engineering, the issue was pinpointed to a single chip that was malfunctioning, and a workaround was deployed to bring 2 of the 4 instruments back online. Now, I say laborious because each command sent to the probe takes 22 and a half hours to reach it, and then another 22 and a half hours to receive a response. So it's kind of like text messaging my mother.
Zing.
She keeps her phone off for most of the day, and I am just as likely to get back gibberish as a coherent response because, keyboards are tough. I'm also turning 47 this year, so this metaphor is surprisingly apt and a little gross. Anyway, the first patch to Voyager 1 was delivered in April, and it brought 2 of the 4 systems back online. But the engineers suspected they would need a little more time to get the other 2 systems that monitor cosmic rays and low-energy charged particles back online. The second patch was delivered successfully in mid-June, and now all 4 systems are sending data back to Earth. How long they continue to do so is an open question, as the power supplies in each probe are slowly degrading, much like myself, but for the time being, we'll both continue to travel into the great unknowns of space and time.
Critical vCenter security patches released. You know what to do. At least I hope you know what to do.
Lay down the boogie?
This week, Broadcom released fixes for 3 significant vulnerabilities, namely CVEs 2024 37079 through 81. Now, none of these hit the perfect 10 on the CVSS score. 2 of them were at 9.8 though, which is still good enough to count as critical, and the third was merely high at 7.8. What a slacker. Now, the critical vulnerabilities would, quote, potentially lead to remote code execution, and the 7.8 was a privilege elevation flaw due to a misconfiguration of sudo. All not great.
Nope.
That last one I really feel like we should have had figured out by now. But anyway, there are no mitigations available, which is also not great.
No.
Luckily, however, the press release indicates that there is no evidence that these have been used in any attacks in the wild, and 2, most importantly, there are patches available. If you have vCenter 7 or 8, any minor version, or vCloud Foundations 4 or 5, any version, best be getting to patching.
Dell's demand for in-person attendance ignored. So, we had this whole global pandemic thing happen.
When?
I know. It's a distant memory now. Lots of people had to work from home 100% of the time. It was weird and awkward. We all learned about Tony's penchant for Ewok memorabilia, and we met Sonia's 3 dachshunds. Terrible but interesting times all around. Despite suddenly not being in the office and having regular water cooler chats about inane sitcoms like The Big Bang Theory, it turns out that productivity didn't suffer, and in some cases, improved. See, it seems like constant interruptions from Sonia to show you her latest wiener dog rescue, that was actually counterproductive. And drive-bys from your 6 managers tended to break your flow state. By staying home and putting Slack on Do Not Disturb, you could actually get that TPS report done and sent out to all 6 managers. The big bosses at Dell took a look at all the data, crunched some hard numbers, double-checked the results, and chose to ignore all of that shit and just go with their gut. Earlier this year, they sent a memo to all employees stating that hybrid work would be essentially mandatory starting at the beginning of May, requiring people to be at the office 3 days a week. Choosing to stay fully remote would exempt you from any career advancement opportunities, raises, or new roles within the company, essentially stagnating your growth at Dell entirely. Now that we're a month and a half in, how did this policy work out? Well, according to a report from Business Insider, almost half of Dell's US employees have rejected the hybrid mandate. Business Insider interviewed 11 Dell employees about their decision process, and they pointed to facts that, like, 1, their team is globally distributed, so going to an office would be entirely pointless. Or 2, their quality of life is better being remote, and it's not worth switching. Or 3, they're just going to go look for a job somewhere else that isn't being stupid about this. Amazing. Managers and leaders, they like to say they're data-driven, Chris, but I think it's clear that when data contradicts their gut, they'll ignore the data every time.
Anthropic releases Claude 3.5 Sonnet version, gradually improving on their 3.0 model. In the world of commercial LLMs, something interesting is happening. Or, I guess, not happening. Massive stop-the-presses improvements in LLM performance are just not the norm anymore. ChatGPT 4.0 came out and was a minor improvement when it came out, and everybody said it was fine, and it's fine.
Yep.
This week, Anthropic released their latest free model, which is a minor improvement on both its free and paid predecessors. So that's interesting. I mean, on its own, this isn't really a surprise. Research and development always has these lulls that come after the mind-bending advances. And what's ending up happening, the major manufacturers of LLMs are starting to realize this and lean into the whole AI ecosystem angle. OpenAI had their trainable GPTs, more on that, way back in episode 109 with our very special guest, Chris Williams, and our very not special host, Ned. Oh, you're still listening, sorry. Anthropic, along these lines, is introducing artifacts. And the idea here is to work on a living document within Anthropic's ecosystem. Add content, use the space to collaborate with other people, etc. Kind of like how you can tack Copilot onto Microsoft Word, except in the opposite direction. Now, at the moment, all that it does is show you the file that it's generating in another window in your browser and lets you save that file in a read-only fashion for later. But they do go their way to say that this feature is very much in beta, so expect more features to become available on the regular. Getting people to buy into the Anthropic system with these other tools is kind of clever if it works. As the difference between the mainline models becomes ever smaller, it will be interesting to see the surrounding features and functionalities that make the difference. Probably for whoever can just sign up the most customers first.
I said it before, I'll say it again. AI is a feature, not a product. And they're trying to make products out of a feature. Good luck.
I was told that AI was the future.
Oh. Well, that's it. We're done. Go away now. Bye.